Once again, partners, you are all welcome to our special training. Tonight, training is one of the most important skills, and this skill is for every single networker or every single salesperson, every single person that is into distribution, every single person that have to deal with human beings to patronize whatever you do. So that is one of the most important skills. It is called closing skills. You know, in network marketing, we need a set of skills to be able to build your business. You need prospecting skills. Effective prospecting is key. We also need inviting skills. And we need presenting skills. And then finally, we need closing skill. Now, closing is the final stage. This is where you get people into your business. Now, whatever you have started from the beginning, from the prospecting to every activity, to the follow-up and to the inviting and everything, the final thing you are targeting, the aim is to close. It means to get the person to say yes to your opportunity. To get the person to say yes to your opportunity. And that is what we call closing. So when the person finally agrees and buy onto your product or choose a package to become a member, then you have closed the person. And if you are in the business and your numbers are not coming, you are not getting more people into your team, into the business or into buying the products, then you should know that you have problem with closing. Please, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you. Yeah. So effective closing is key. If you learn this skill very well, I can assure you your business is going to be a different direction and your growth rate increases. To close is to get the prospect make payment for your product or registration package. Let's dive deep. We have ways to effectively close. Number one is, you only close the customer after you have presented. Because the last training we learned presenting skills. So after presentation, whether presentation does not necessarily mean a group. You can present to one person. You can even present to somebody on phone, on WhatsApp chat, anyhow. So what you want to do, one of the effective ways that can help you to close faster is to ask questions. Because this will help you to get the information from the person. So many of us are doing very well. We can really talk much. We can explain a lot about the products. And yet, we are not getting the results we need. Why? Now, there is a difference between helping somebody solve a problem and then presenting features to the person. So what a lot of us focus on doing is to tell the features of the product. Because you know all of them and you know very well deep down in your mind, these products are very good. This business is good. So you want to express. So thinking that the expression is what makes the person join. Instead of seeking information. So the best way you can solve somebody's problem is when you get to know their problem. You can't solve what you don't know. So by asking questions, you will get to know where their problem is, what their need is. or what they urgently need a solution to, so that you can now program your presentation as the solution. So do not be quick to show the product to them or your business plan. Don't be in a hurry to give them product without knowing what they need, because the customer or the prospect might need financial breakthrough, and yet you are presenting health. As at that time, that's not what he needs. Maybe somebody battling with school fees, and then you are presenting health products. He thinks that as an now, that's a secondary matter. Somebody on a sick bed does not need business plan. So, or somebody who has a sick relative that they are spending a lot of money to on hospitals to heal, you don't have to present A to Z, health and business. You're going to spoil the business. So what we want to do is to, in our conversation, let's try to ask questions, whether you are presenting immediately or you are building relationship with the person. What you want to do is to learn to ask them questions, so that seek the information from them and get the information. This is the second point, is very, very, very important. Number two, logically, everybody thinks that once you are the one presenting, then you should be the one doing all the talking. Hey, our products are like this, they are made of ABC, they can help you with this, they can do this, they can do this, they can do this, blah, 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 blah. To the point that we don't give the chance to the person to talk. But I want to shock you tonight. In every conversation, the one that is listening, the one that is doing the listening, is going to be the judge in that particular conversation. Now, you would want to put yourself in a position where you have the power to decide, because if you are the one doing the talking, then you have handed over the power to the prospect to make that decision, whether to join you or not. But if you are able to successfully turn the conversation so that you will be the one now listening to them while they tell you their mind, they tell you their problems, then at the end of the day, you are in a power position to now make a decision to solve their problem for them. So learn not to always speak and speak and speak. Learn to listen more if you want to close speedily. Most of those that have actually worked with me in the field, if you are with me for the first time, sometimes you might think that I'm not even doing the business, because I do more listening. Even when the person is saying nonsense, I listen. Because once you listen to somebody, the person now feels heard. You have built some kind of trust. So they will tend to listen to you when you are talking. And if they now tell you their problems, when somebody is telling their problem to you, now they put you in a position to be able to help them. So you don't want to just keep talking and keep talking. You will need to listen to them. Become the listener in the conversation. If you can successfully do this, believe me, your closing skills will skyrocket. You'll get a lot of people convinced when you talk to them if you learn to listen to your prospects. Point number 3, after listening, now you have identified their need. So you are now going to channel your presentation as their solution. Maybe not directly referring to them, but you now have an idea what the prospect needs. Then you will now program your presentation towards their need. For instance, somebody who has a job and They are battling with financial crisis day in, day out. So what you want to offer is an additional source of income to them, which is in a way a solution to their problem. So you will know how to channel your presentation. Or if you get to know that the person has a sick mother that they are trying everything possible to heal. So what you don't need to start with is business. You will need to start with health. So you will need to start with health so that becomes their point of interest. They are more likely to listen to you and make a decision with you if you are channeling your presentation towards where their need is. So you don't want to present without understanding where the need is. So once you are booking appointment with somebody, so what you want to do is to be able to present a solution to them. So, and that can only be when you have successfully listened to them. So that is it. You want to present a solution to them. And everybody, once somebody is presenting what you need, you are more likely to buy onto it. Now let's look at these very important tips. Now, if you have not joined the presenting skills, you might get a little confused because we are not taking all the skills from the beginning. It's one after the other. After presenting, there are certain things you would want to do that help you close the person, because the main reason why you are presenting is to close. So these are very important things, tips. So once you get a chance to present as a solution, so sometimes you don't need to leave it open for the person to now be wondering, oh, am I interested or not? You must speak with confidence and act as if they have listened to you and they have already agreed. So instead of asking them, are you interested? Or would you be interested in our products? Or would you be interested in our business? Now, once you bring interest, it sounds like a commitment, and people are afraid to commit. So you don't want to put them in an assumption that they are committing to something. So you can ask them as if they have already decided to join you, instead of saying, are you interested? Or you say, which of the packages would you want to go along with? Or which package would you want to start with? Or maybe you can frame another question. Should we put you on the Pioneer as a starting point, or you would want to start with the Builder and upgrade later? So you are not asking whether they want to join you or whether they are interested in joining you. Now you are guiding them as to how they can join, they can be part of it. Now, somebody who finished a presentation and asked, would you want to join us? Then the person can say yes or no. And then another person asks, should I get you started on the Pioneer Street? Now the answer is which package they should join instead of whether they should join or not. So when you assume the close, they are more likely to agree with you. So you shift their mind. You don't want them to be thinking whether they should be part of you or not. So you want them to be thinking about which package to start with, or which products. So you can assume, you can ask many questions. So depending on the kind of presentation you had or their need, so you can ask that assumption question that can help, that gives them a direction to go. So you are not leaving it open for them to be thinking what to do next, or whether to decide whether to buy or not, or to decide whether to to join or not. No. you are assuming that they have already decided and you are now guiding them the way forward. So this is very tricky, and it can help you get your prospect convinced to be part of your business. Maybe a question like, how would you like to proceed? That is it. Instead of asking, are you interested in our products or business? Or maybe, are you interested in the business? No. Don't ask such a question during presentation. Assume that everybody is interested. Ask them how they would like to start, or guide them how they would like to start. Would you like me to help you with the product selection? Or maybe, would you want to mix all the products in your package? Or you would like to go with only the triangle of health? Now, all these are tricky questions. So you are trying to shift his mind from thinking whether he is interested in joining or not to which product he likes to take. So you can ask you can assume, and there are so many ways you can try to shift their mind to where you want them to focus on. If the person, you are dwelling from this health point, then you would want to use the product, maybe the product selection or which product they want to start with. So you would want to shift their mind from being interested or not to how they can start. And this is very, very important. Very, very, very important in our sales or in our business. Now, we have questions you can ask. Maybe if the person is trying to prove stubborn, so you try to guide them on their mind, yet they are insistent. So you can ask direct question as to what is preventing them from starting. So if the person is you are presenting from the health point, you can ask. Maybe if the person is on a sick bed and you know that, oh, you are encouraging them to take the product so that they can walk. So you can ask what is preventing them from taking the chance to walk again. Now, so you are trying to get direct answer from them because they are trying to prove stubborn. So you can ask. So this will help you to figure out the problem, because sometimes if somebody is insisting that after all the guidance you are giving, they are insisting, sometimes maybe genuinely they don't have money, they cannot buy. So if you try to guide them and guide them and guide them, and they are so insisting, they are not joining or they are not buying, so you can ask them a direct question so that you can figure out exactly what the problem is. So sometimes they might not have money, or sometimes it could be any problem. So once you ask them directly, they tell you, that becomes an objection, and you handle the objection, you get them close. We'll get there soon. So that is how we can, these are ways we can close effectively. So it's a step by step. Use success stories to close. Use success stories to close. Stories actually sell more than the information you give. Have you observed that you have spoken to you all the good things you are saying about the product? The prospect interest is not like when you begin to tell them the story of the product. Maybe you have a testimony. When you begin to talk to them about your testimony, you see that their expression changes. Now, the story is now touching their emotions. You know, the information you were giving is in their mind. That is logical. So mostly people will not rush to joining you with logic. But when you are able to touch their feelings, when you touch their emotions, that is when they are more likely to join you. So telling a story does a lot. So everybody should be using those stories. Why do you think that we keep recording a lot of stories, a lot of testimonies, and we are uploading them on our pages? It is because you are going to need them. When you are talking to somebody, you need a story to back up the information you are giving. You said this can heal. Yes. So what is the proof? So it's not like the person will ask you, but you will need to back up your information, the information you gave. You are backing up with evidence that this is working. So, and the evidence is more likely to convince the person more than the information you gave about the product. So you can use your story. You can use the story of other people, especially if it is about business and maybe you are a new person. You might not have a very much big story that can convince the person outright, but don't leave your story out and then add others, the story of others, especially someone. If you get to know the situation of that person and you know a story of somebody who was in a similar situation, use that story, and that is going to guide them to see that, okay, even somebody was in my situation, but he's able to overcome this and he's now successful today. So, or maybe the person is having health challenges, but they are doubting because some people take all kind of programs, they are not working. So you give them a story of somebody who had their similar health conditions, and through these products, they have gotten their healing. Just give them that story, and they are going to be more likely to come. They will be more convinced to buy because now they have seen evidence of somebody with their similar situation. Okay, after using the product. So that is very, very important. Story is one of the things that will convince people very, very, very greatly. Now, sometimes after all that, some people will not be able, still, they will not buy immediately. So you are encouraged to follow up. So some people will not make a decision after hearing something once. No. So you need to follow up on them until maybe they decide to say, okay, I'm going with you, or I'm not going to join you. So if you get to know that the person is not going to join you too, it's also good so that you don't waste time. But some people, for the first time, don't give up if they don't join after you have tried. No, some people you need to follow up multiple times before. So that is why follow-up is key. Not only to just call them and say, oh, I'm calling to follow up, or I'm calling to check and see about the business. No. Follow-up is more like building a relationship so that they can get the trust and decide to join you. So most people will join after a number of follow-ups. Still in touch, share updates, and keep them engaged. They will join you eventually. Some people will join you, even some people will buy onto your product or your opportunity even the first day. Some will not. So here you will need to follow up. It's still part of the closing, because after one presentation and all that, you still must follow up on some people before you join. So follow up is actually one of the points that helps you to close. And that is very, very important. So you must learn to follow up, to keep building the relationship, to keep building until they trust you and join. Your confidence is very key. Confidence sells. You must believe in what you are selling, your product, your company, and more importantly, you have to believe in yourself. When you are speaking to somebody without confidence, they can know, they can relate, they can feel. So your expressions will give you away. That is one of the reasons why we encourage everybody to use the product. If you are using the product, when you are talking to somebody, your confidence level is different, and the person can easily relate when you are talking to them. So it's important to use product so that you can build confidence, you can build your belief. And your belief also on your company and the opportunity at large. So you have to believe in a business aspect, you must as well work hard. At least chop some money from the system, and that builds your confidence. Somebody who have earned money talking to you, yes, they relate well to the business than somebody who is not making money. So it's very, very important. So speak with confidence. Your passion, your energy will reflect, and it will be transferred. It's continuous. When you are confident in your opportunity, it will reflect on the prospects. They will tap into your confidence, and that alone will convince them that no, the way this man is talking about this, I think is true. They will get to believe. So build confidence in what you do, on yourself, on your products, on your opportunity, on your team, on your company. Build confidence, build confidence. So from tonight, start using the product so that your confidence level when you are educated will be so high. Yes, people who have used the product, they also tend to get more results when they are talking to people because their confidence level is very high when they are talking to people. So build confidence. Now there is a guide. Before you even start the presentation, there is something you assume in your mind. That is your goal. There is a goal there. What is your goal for even starting? So this is a guide to help you even from day one, even from setting off, you know exactly what you need to do to easily get the person to build a trust in you and buy onto your opportunity or your business. So this is a guide to close. We have the problem, then the effect or size of the problem, and then solution and the cost of the solution. If you follow this guide, your closing will actually increase. Now, before we understand this, let's just bring our mind to our former presentations. Those of us that happen to sit on our physical presentation, or even on the Zoom, we do use the same slide, how the slide was developed. Now, what you want to do to increase your closing is that you must help the prospect identify their problem. A person who doesn't have a problem doesn't care about solution. Then the solution still costs money. They are not going to buy onto it. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they actually don't have a problem, but they might not even know that they have a problem. So from the guide from the beginning to the end, what you would want to do is to help the person identify the problem. That is why when we're developing the slide, we put in education. We could just list the products. After all, when you look at the features, ingredients, yes, everything shows that the products are good. So you can just go straight and talk about them. But when you do that, the customer or the prospect mind, you are selling. And once their mind tells them you are selling, then they assume that you want to make money out of them. So when they assume that you want to make money out of them, then they are not sure you are telling them the truth. So which is what you don't want to do. So what we do is to educate. So your main job actually that you need to do is to educate the people. So don't just focus on selling. Sometimes with the education, it actually makes your presenting easier. Once you get the person to realize the problem and then the size or the effect of that problem, and now you have a solution, but the solution costs money. So if they realize that, oh, okay, there is a problem, and this is the size, how big my problem is, and this is how to solve it, and this is how much it will cost to solve it. Now they are more likely to buy onto the solution, even though it costs money, than people who don't even know that they have a problem. So with this guide, anytime you want to present to people or you are pursuing somebody, you are chasing a prospect, have this guide in mind. You must educate the prospect, let them realize what problem is there, how the effect of the problem is, or the size of the problem that they have. But there is a solution to the problem, and the solution costs money. So the prospect will be willing to pay the money to solve the problem you have helped them identify, so that they can avoid the effect of the problem. So for instance, when we do, before we even bring products, we take you through, after taking you through the biography of the company, we go straight into educating you about the human body, the stem cells, and that take us to how the formation of human life is. So why should we go back to learn how we were created? Because without the beginning, the prospect will not also even understand the middle and the end. So you want them to understand how we came by and the problem the human body has, which include them. So by the time you finish, they will realize, oh, okay, I'm in this group. So by this time, my cells are down, very down. So before you go to how to solve it, they are not thinking, oh, okay, it means that this is a problem. And by this time, my cells are down and I need to fix them. So you offer them the solution, which is the product to help them fix their stem cells. And then you give them the cost of the product, which is the solution to their problem. So the same way, every person you meet, so when you in your pursuit, you must really listen and ask more questions. So and guide them if they are not understanding, so that they can realize which problem they actually have. If the person is sick, sometimes if they get to tell you about a health problem, so you would have to educate them. If even you have to go and do research, do and educate them about their problem. If possible, the effect of that problem or where the problem can lead to, if not solved, before you offer them solution and the cost. So they'll be more than willing to pay the price. And now, a lot of people do complain that, oh, the prospect or the customer says the price is expensive. That is an objection. All right. So let's talk about that, because we're actually going to talk about how to handle objections. How to handle objections. And price is one of the objections, and many other objections will come through. Now, this guide, it doesn't mean that every single person is going to say yes. People will raise objections. So, and price is one of the common objections members face, and their spirit is down. Let me give you an assurance. If the price becomes the discussion, then there is absence of value. So if you use this guide, by the time you finish, there is so much value in what you are offering, because you have helped them to identify a problem and you are solving the problem. So that is very, very, very important for us to know. Because sometimes we go straight to the product and sell. So when you go straight and talk about a product, the first thing you are selling. So something you are selling it this high. So he didn't plan to buy with so much money. So he would tell you it's expensive. I don't have money. But if you help them realize the magnitude of the problem, they will look for money. And for instance, this is how one of the ways I communicate with the people. Almost everybody that communicates with me, I give you a lot of them. I give them the triangle of health. But some people are also giving 111. You are selling 111 product. That is why they will say it's expensive. And this is why. Now, when you get in touch with me, even if you ask me to educate you on our product, what I will tell you is that we have a range of products. There are many. It will be, I would rather prefer you tell me what you want to solve so that I can guide you on which product. So it means that I have turned the conversation to me being the one listening, instead of the customer sitting down listening to you we have sunrise, blah blah blah, sunset, blah blah blah, colon guard, probiotic. So you educate them on all, then they will just get confused and say, oh, the products are expensive. No, I wouldn't do that. You will tell me your problem, and then I will now recommend based on your problem and why you need the product. So you can now educate them on which of the products you are recommending to solve his problem. Now, of course, you say, oh, 3 of them, 1,512 is high. I understand. That is costly. So if they will ask you to reduce. So what you will do, if you ask me to reduce, oh, I don't have that much money, they want you to bring down the price. So if you take out one product, okay, in that case, let's take out the sunset so that you can go along with the colon guard and sunrise. This is what the sunset does. So that was why I was adding it. So, but since you don't have enough money, let's take out the sunset so that you can take colon guard and sunrise. Now, the person doesn't want to lose the benefit of the sunset you are taking out. So the very person who didn't have money, they are going to find the money to buy, including the sunset, because they are afraid of losing the benefit of the product you are taking out. So you are also giving a message that, okay, if you pay less, then the value reduces. So they now understand that the high cost is coming with high value. So, but when you are just selling a product, one product to somebody, and then the person says it's expensive, oh, reduce it for me, blah, 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 blah. No, give the price without fear. And when they do ask, reduce the value they are getting for paying less and see whether they will want to lose the value. The very people will want to pay for all the product because they don't want to lose the value. So it's very, very key. So let's now get into handling objections. Objections. What is an objection? An objection is a reason or an argument against something. Somebody, you want something to be done, somebody is finding a reason for that thing not to be done. It is an objection. It's like a disagreement or a different opinion or a concern being raised, a resistance. So objection is something that is being made up to prevent you from closing. You want the person to buy the product. The person is also finding reasons not to buy the product. You want the person to join the business. The person finds reasons not to join the business. They are all objections. Whatever reason the person gives, you must understand as a professional that it is an objection. You must not take it personal. Objections are part of the business. Whether you like or not, you are going to meet objections. This is what you should expect. It means that these are important things you must know in the course of your business. As a networker or as a salesperson, you will always meet objections in the process of your business. Whether you like or not, you meet objections. People always resist costs or expenses. Nobody likes paying out money. So it's very painful. So people will not want to. So by all means, they will find reasons. Nobody likes paying. People always have more excuses than the reasons why they should buy. So we have thousands of reasons why things must not be done. So you must expect objection in your line of business. But let me tell you, handling these objections is part of closing in your business. So you must learn how to handle objection. There is a simple guide that can help you to handle almost every objection that comes your way, which we are going to look at. Once you get the guide, like the one we look at, Guide to Close, the problem the magnitude of the problem, the solution, and the cost to reduce your objection and closing. So there is a guide which we are going to use to handle objections. So how to handle these objections, no matter the objection they are raising. At that point, remember, you must be a very good listener. This point is being emphasized all the time. Listen to whatever nonsense the client has to say. When you are listening, don't only just listen. Let them feel being heard. Because sometimes their words are irritating you. If you are not careful, you can make an expression that shows that you are undermining what they are saying. Sometimes, because of the knowledge you have, then they are saying something that might not make sense to you. But no matter whether it makes sense or not, you have to listen to it happily. Because at the end of the day, understand your goal is to get the person on board. So whatever the person says must not be taken personal. You must not take it into feelings. No. If not, you are not going to close. So you must listen to them carefully. You have to listen to them. Even when they are speaking nonsense, you listen to the nonsense without any distraction so that they can actually understand. They can feel that, no, you are listening to what they are saying. So, and when you do listen, you will now get more insight of the objection they are raising. Whatever they are saying, you will now understand it well. And that is also going to give you a guide as to how you are going, what you are going to say next. So another point you must listen to them is that people are happy when they feel heard, when they feel that, oh, this person have listened to me. So they now feel they already have a connection that creates some kind of connection with you. So when you want to talk, after you have patiently listened to them, they are going to make time to listen to you as well. If you rubbish what they are saying, then you have lost the sale. You have lost the prospect. So, and your biggest loss is when you have not successfully signed on. But no matter the nonsense they tell you, if they still sign on, then you are the winner. That is one thing you must understand. So listen and acknowledge. Let them speak the nonsense and you listen. When you listen to them, relate with them. Sometimes some clients think that, oh, you are special. Maybe you are into sales. That's why you are able to do this. Especially when it comes to them doing business, they will find all kinds of excuses. Now you want them to see that you and them are the same. So when they talk, you listen to them and relate with them. Especially maybe let's say somebody who says that, oh, I don't have money. So logically, not having money is even a reason why they should join. But you can't just tell them that straight because they're going to feel insulted. And when they feel insulted, you have lost them forever. So you want to relate with them. If you have a story similar to theirs, you tell them your story. Or if you don't have a story similar to theirs and you know somebody's story similar to theirs, you can tell them the story of that person that is related to their exact problem without advising them directly. So you relate with them so that they will know that, oh, okay, you are the same with them. And you tell them a story, as simple as that. Avoid direct advice. Because people, when you try to advise people directly, you put them in a self-defense mode. And self-defense, even they will defend the wrong answer. So you don't want that. So you want to ensure that you just provide a solution without advising them directly. Because when they feel that you are advising them, then they are assuming in their mind, so this guy thinks I'm stupid. So he thinks he knows. So avoid that. Tell them a story that relates to their own. So we call it the feel, fair, found method. This is like listening to them, you relate. So you tell them you understand how they feel because you felt the same thing. Or somebody felt their situation, and this is how the person got out of it. That is the found. So after listen, somebody who tells me, oh, in fact, I would love to do this business, but I don't have money. Or maybe they'll say, I don't have time. In fact, they'll give you all kind of excuse. So after listening to them, you tell them, I understand you, my brother. Because you and I are just the same. Because I have gone through the same thing. Or you can even give a worst case scenario. Maybe your situation was worse than his own. So now the person now feel, so you also, in their mind, so you also went through what I'm going through. Now, the next thing you are telling them, how you got out of their situation, you now give them how you got out. You avoided advising them directly, and yet you still advise them on what to do because you did something. So what you did, you have given them a way, a guide as to what to do. So, and that is going to give you that close. So I went through the same situation. I didn't have money. If they complain about time, oh, in fact, I was so tight. My schedule was so tight that I didn't have time to do anything. I didn't even have time for my family. But then I realized that if I didn't do something, I will never be free. So I did ABC. And today that is what helped me. You didn't say go and do ABC, but you said you did ABC. So you have given, it means they can also do the ABC you did. So listen, relate, and then tell them a story. And you are going to help. It's going to help you handle every objection. So thank you so much. This is the end of our meeting tonight, sorry. And I'm going to leave you with this guiding principle that is called the law of averages. The law of averages is kept in 3 different ways. I just put it in 3 different ways for you to understand. It says the more people you talk to about your business or your products, the more you are likely to get results. The more conversations you are having, the more you are publicizing yourself and your business. The more relationships you build, the more people you influence. So the law of average always never fail. You can never talk to 20 people and yet close 50 people. It's impossible. However, you can close 20 people and you can close 50 people if you have talked to 100 people. You can never close 150 people only if you have spoken to 100 people. But you can close 200 people if you have spoken to 500 people. That is the law of average. So increase the numbers. If you are feeling stuck, you feel that your business is not moving, this night, I want you to understand that that situation can be changed to the point that you might even not have time to think about who is not ready because you will have many more people that will be ready after talking to many people. So just increase your numbers and there will be no time for you to complain. You are only going to get results and results and results and results. So apply the law of average. The law of average into your business. It's also known as the law of large numbers. So the more people you are reaching out to, the more results you are getting. The more conversations you are having, the more you are publicizing yourself and your business. So the more people you are building, then the more people you are influencing. So the more impact. So everything, the more results. Everything you do, the more results. So the law of average. Thank you so much. So our time is up.